Hello YouTube and fellow DC Comic fans. I'm Kelly One Shot, and this is the Post-Crisis Podcast. And today, we're going to talk about Superman number 14 from DC Comics, written by Brian Michael Bendis. Okay, so we actually start this issue off today, where we see the House of El, Superman, Supergirl, Superboy, Krypto, Zod, and his family, and they are all gathering together in the name of El and the name of Zod as well. And we see that they're all on Thanagar Prime, and we see that there's multiple races throughout the galaxy and universe, all here on this planet, as they're all talking together about what's going on, about this great battle that's been happening with Rugal Zar and the House of El and Superman and Thanagar and all these other races throughout the galaxy. We then actually go yesterday, where we see the battle that was happening at the ruins of Krypton, where we see Superman inside of the ship with Zor-El, and the two of them are talking, and Superman's wondering why they're in the ruins of Krypton. And then we actually see in the other ship that has General Zod and Rugal Zar inside of it that they're here, they're wondering why they're there as well. But then it's there that Jor-El finally reveals his plan and why they sent them here, because he knew that it would trigger a rage inside of Zod seeing the ruins of Krypton, because Zod is a very proud man, and so he decides now is the time to break his truce with Rugal Zar, because he never was really a part of this truce anyway. He told Superman during a fight in Hyper Time that he was never on Rugal Zar's side and that he always had Krypton's back, and thus Superman's back as well. So Zod goes into a rage, he attacks Rugal Zar, the ship can't withstand this rage of Zod, and so it's gonna blow up. They're fighting out of space. Zod is doing this for Krypton, and he's actually a hero in this moment. And Zor-El says, Clark, don't go out there, because the radiation from Krypton's destruction, we're in the epicenter of that. So the kryptonite poisoning is at its strongest here. I know you want to go out and help Zod, and you want to help all these people from dying, and you do want Rugal to die too, but you can't go out there. This is why we're here, is so Zod can do what you won't, and that he'll kill Rugal, and the two of them will fight and kind of kill each other, and that's what Jor-El's happy with. So this kind of happens, and we actually see that in this, Rugal Zar is being damaged by the kryptonite radiation as well, which suggests that he is Kryptonian, which they never really talked about before too much, but that seems to be the case here. Eventually, Jor-El decides to give Kal this device that allows him to withstand the radiation for a few moments or a few brief seconds, just so he can travel out and try to save Zod, essentially. So he goes out there, but as soon as Clark grabs Zod, Rugal Zar gets really enraged, and he's fighting through this, and he's gonna fight back. And now, Superman and Zod have to engage in fighting Rugal Zar, and so a fight breaks out, and then as Rugal Zar grabs his axe, we actually see the House of El, we see Supergirl, Superboy, and Krypto, and Supergirl's able to wield Zod's weapon because she did for so long, and she formed a connection with the weapon herself, so she takes the weapon to Zod, and now the House of El and General Zod are fighting back against Rugal Zar here in outer space, and Rugal Zar is getting beat up, he's getting mashed up, but then all of a sudden, an explosion happens, and then we actually see the Thanagarian army finally catch up, and they actually take prisoner all of the houses, El and Zod too, and they return to Thanagar. And it's here where Superman talks to, what's his name here? Ro-Ar-Yadan of the Thanagarian Galactic Council Security, and he's one of the chiefs of the Intergalactic Intelligence Unit, and he's telling him that his father is under arrest, but he's not under arrest, Superman, because he's Superman, and all the great things that he's done for Thanagar and for the galaxy, and neither is any of his immediate family, except for his father, obviously, because his father was a part of these war crimes in the past, and there's a reason why this, all this trouble is happening right now, is because of all these intergalactic secrets and conversations that happened in secret that led to the destruction of Krypton. But it's actually here where a rival army actually attacks, it's the Kudins, or start attacking Thanagar, and it's here that the Thanagarian council guy asks Clark, he's like, yo, what are we gonna do here? Your father said that you would know what to do. But then it's actually Jonathan who stands up and he says, can we, like, call a timeout? And Superman goes, that's actually a kind of great idea, honestly. But then we actually see Zod's family fly in, and they heard news of Zod's battle all over the galaxy, and that they're here to support Zod here and just kind of be together. And it's here that Superman actually says, no, I think that Jonathan's onto something here, and that we need to lead by example. And Jonathan suggests that we have a thing on Earth called the United Nations, where all the nations get together and they have democracy and they talk out their beefs. You know what the United Nations is. I don't need to explain what the United Nations is, but it's here that Jonathan actually suggests starting a United Planets, where all the planets will unite, and if someone has a beef with somebody else, they're going to announce it here publicly so everybody knows. If a planet needs help, they're going to announce it publicly so people who can reach out and help them, and that this is how things are going to be from now on. So Superman actually suggests that to several races, like the Red Lanterns, we got the Thanagarians, we got the Tamaranians, we got the Guardians, some dude who looks like Darkseid. I don't even know if that's Darkseid. If it is, it's not drawn the best. Either way, we have all these races throughout the galaxy. And now they're going to talk about the, starting this United Planets. And we actually learn that the complete interstellar truce across the galaxy that they had before had been destroyed, and that's why all these planets were attacking each other outside of the Outer Rim, because nothing was being protected. So Superman actually suggests that we need to do this right now, and that we need to resolve our conflicts. And then actually everybody's wondering who the first planet is going to be to join this United Planets nation here. And then all of a sudden a portal opens up in the sky, and we actually see, finally, from the 31st century, the Legion of Superheroes. Which is awesome, though it is also confusing at the same time. We see people like Lightning Lad, we see Brainiac 5, we see Saturn Girl, which is the confusing part, because if you do know, and you've been following the Button, and you've been following Doomsday Clock, that Saturn Girl has been trapped here, and she was in a mental facility. So what is this going on here? Or is that a later in timeline Saturn Girl? I don't know yet. That's kind of confusing for me. But we also see Mon-El there, which is kind of cool, because I like Mon-El. But I don't think we've actually talked about Mon-El at all in DC Rebirth, because he has a history with Supergirl and the Legion as well, and it depends on which version we're talking about, but Superman had a history with the Legion as well too. I think that's being slightly retconned here because of what's about to happen. We actually see that the Legion came back because they want to say that this day in the future is the day that changed everything. It was a day that put the whole galaxy on a path towards a real future. It was a decisive decision that brought about the United Planets that saved all of us. August 18th will become a galaxy-wide holiday known as Unity Day, and that they've all decided to dedicate their lives to superheroes because of the very honor of this day. And so that way in the future we have all these superheroes. That's kind of one of the things about the Legion of Superheroes in the 31st century. So we're starting to deal with some of this now. And then it's actually revealed that Saturn Girl says that in celebration of Unity Day, we deeply believe that to teach each other things, we can learn things about each other's error, and that we really think it's best for you to join us in the 31st century. Would you like to do us the great honor? And then Superman's like, yeah, no, I can't join you. I'm actually very important to this era. You know what I mean? I got stuff I got to do here. I got people I got to save. And then it's actually here that the Legion tells Superman, no offense, but it's actually not you that we wanted to join. We wanted the creator of the United Planets. We want John Kent, Superboy. Would you do us the honor in joining us as a member of the Legion of Superheroes? That's where the comic book ends. And I think that this is interesting because a lot of people don't like how Bendis has aged Jonathan and turned him into this older boy. And then we do also have, also by Bendis, what's his name there? The other Superboy there, Connor Kent, has returned too in Young Justice. So that's kind of confusing right now because we have two Superboys from two different eras and two different things going on here, and people don't really like the new older Jonathan Kent. They like the little kid Jonathan Kent, because I did too, from Super Sons. But it's actually also unique here because now the Legion comic, when that comes out, will probably feature Superboy. And it's funny because back in the day, Superboy was in the Legion of Superheroes. That Superboy was actually Kal-El, and in the younger timeline in the pocket dimension as he was growing up. The Superman history is very long, very confusing, and very retconned. And we're about to get another one right here, because I think Jonathan Kent is going to take his father's place retrofittingly into the Legion of Superheroes, and then that pushes Jonathan into another book, but he's still doing something and he's a part of a team, and I can't wait for that book. And I thought overall that this issue was kind of all over the place. It was kind of wild. It had some revelations about Rugol Zar being part Kryptonian to some extent, where he feels the damage of kryptonite. but it also didn't resolve the fact that maybe he's still alive, because he probably is, because we didn't see him die, so he's still a threat out there. But now we have United Planets and a path to the future to be much better, and we have this new path for Jonathan Kent. And it does finally bring in the Legion of Superheroes into a DC Rebirth timeline here, outside of like Saturn Girl and people like that. And that's really cool, especially because this is Legion. This is the comic book Legion here. We have our whole emblem based on the Legion of Superheroes here at this website. And now, finally, the thing that we're named after is back into the current continuity, so that's pretty cool. Speaking of that, you can check out this review and many other written reviews and podcasts on comicbooklegion.com. You can also check this video out on my personal YouTube channel, which is Kelly One Shot, which you can find me at youtube.com/OneShotTheory. Either way, this has been my fresh hot take on Superman number 14 from DC Comics, written by Brian Michael Bendis. Like I said, I'm Kelly One Shot. Take care, have a great day, and goodbye!